Helping people is an obligation of every person because every person in this world must coexist with others and help them. A person must realize that no matter how powerful he is, he will one day need help from others. Today, we will tell you this exciting story about this young girl who suddenly found herself in front of a crocodile basin, and dozens of crocodiles were approaching her. It happened in the American city of New York in 1956 when a 9-year-old girl named Minzy found herself inside a small crocodile reserve. Surrounded by a fence, the reserve contained a large basin with dozens of crocodiles, and the parents took pictures of their little daughter near the crocodile basin, and then they all looked at the photographs that were taken. While this was going on, the girl crept from the parents to a small opening that was under the fence and entered the crocodile basin. The girl was not aware of the danger as she was approaching the basin, and she was eager to touch those fierce crocodiles. Immediately, she noticed the crocodiles. She started approaching her, and they were starting to think about having a nice, heavy meal. The parents turned to the girl, but they didn't find her. And when they looked inside the cage, they noticed that she was inside, waving her hand to the crocodiles. And at the same time, the crocodiles were approaching her quickly. The parents were shocked and began calling for help. A large crowd gathered around the cage, but none of them had the courage to enter the enclosure in order to save that little girl from those hungry crocodiles. Everyone was watching the situation, and the father was trying to climb the fence in order to reach his daughter, but he could not. And he remained holding his hat, moaning and watching what was going to happen to his daughter. The mother and the rest of the audience were all in shock watching the terrifying situation. There were only a few meters left between the crocodiles and the girl. In those moments, a man came from afar, climbed the fence very quickly, and then jumped and entered the cage, holding a long rope that had been recommended by a man who was with him to grab him from outside the cage in order to stick to him when he tried to get out. Then he went straight towards the girl and grabbed her, and then carried her and returned her to the back. Although the crocodiles chased him and the girl, he was very fast. He put the girl on his back and ordered her to hold it by her neck, climb the rope, and jump over the fence, exiting the cage. It had been a few seconds that had separated this little girl from the ferocious crocodiles, but this man had stepped in, and the attendees applauded him with his courage and skill in dealing with the matter where he saved her from certain death and how he amazed everyone with the way he had dealt with the matter. In the end, it turned out that the savior was the famous comedian and novelist George Carlin. The artist was on a business trip to one of the theaters that were located next to the zoo, and after he was passing near the park, he noticed the girl inside the crocodile cage, which made him get out of his car with his friend, and he brought a rope with them to enter to save her. As for the girl who was rescued, it turned out to be the future Hollywood star Nancy Allen. And this actress has appeared in many films and has become popular with movie fans around the world. After many years passed after the incident, the artist George Carlin started suffering from alcohol and drug addiction in 2008. He stopped working entirely and entered the world of gambling. After losing many bets, he ultimately declared his bankruptcy. And when he told Nancy about it, he made sure to tell her that he was the one that saved her life. She went to his house and offered to help him, and Nancy paid for all the expenses of addiction treatment that George Carlin had. And he eventually managed to get through this difficult period of life and recovery. Although he announced his retirement from acting, George Carlin continued his creativity in the field of writing. His most recent book was It's Stupid to Fear Crocodiles from a Little Girl, a novel that met with great success and achieved a high rate of sales. To an American actor and writer who volunteered and saved the life of that girl, he did not know that that girl would one day return the favor and help him get past the most challenging stage of his life, and eventually get his life back. What do you think of this story? Would you have done the same and saved the little girl from the crocs? Let us know what you would have done in the comments below.